Video log, number 1. This feels very weird. I'm not used to being out in public and recording myself when maybe people walk by, so I'm a little bit nervous to do this, but I think that's okay. I want to talk about, maybe for myself to view in the future, maybe to shed some light on some things that I've found recently that have helped me give clarification on the feeling of liberation and self-acceptance. And so I've been fascinated mainly by two art movements and figures recently that have given a clearer understanding to that concept. I'll start with the first, and that is the Tropicalia movement in Brazil in the late 1960s. It's so fascinating. I can't stop coming back to it. I wish I could inflect in my vocal just how curious it's found me and the deeper meaning it gives me. So I'll kind of start by giving maybe my journey and understanding. So this really all started earlier this year with my listening of the self-titled album from Os Mutantes, and it instantly clicked. Something instantly clicked. I couldn't stop listening to it. Maybe just because I just love the sound. I love how it kind of almost reminded me of the Velvet Underground, but in a Brazilian way. I can kind of get to that later, but really something kept coming back to it for me, and I continued to explore them and explore more of the people that are around them. I started exploring Gilberto Gil, mainly him as a secondary before I really dove into what the movement was. And so the more you start listening to it, you'll recognize themes of it's kind of all over the place, but in the same sense it is also uplifting, and it is freeing in a better sonically sound to the point. And so what really kicked off the rest of my amazement with this is the album Tropicalia u Panis et Circenses. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm just a white guy from Texas trying to appreciate other cultures as I see them. But this movement really all started here. This was the manifesto for what this encompasses. And so let me lay it down how I see it. There is a gathering of people sharing ideas, sharing music, sharing songs, going back and forth between one another, kind of all under the same umbrella that was in liberation in lieu of a dictatorship. Now, do I know the full history of Brazil? No. Am I fascinated by what it is I assume to be like under political aggression like that? Yes, because I have to recognize that I don't experience that as much, and so it's fascinating to think about art that existed in a vacuum of oppression like that, where there's really two sides of the coins. There's one side where you narrow your path of what you can creatively distribute and create that fits into a field of vision to the larger overarching theme of whatever landscape economy that you're living in, and you give in to survive in that time. And I think that ends up happening with people. I mean, it's happening in the world that we live in today. I think if you look at a lot of extreme right-wing movements, what did Tom MacDonald, Ben Shapiro, it's all of that art is so meaningless because it fully encompasses a strict idea. It's promoting an agenda that I don't really know if these people fully believe themselves. And on the other side of that coin, there is art that is the most freeing that I really think it can be. There's a group of people that, despite being called mutants, despite literally getting shunned from society, people that stick to creating for what they ultimately believe in. People that, despite having the weight of the world around them, making music that sounds so free, so full of color. I mean, it looks like the leaves in summer, and for that to be happening at the same time as other movements that go into this narrow field of view, it's amazing, right? And so not only musically is this album and the rest of everything that encompasses good, but the people that were going for this movement hold so much self-acceptance of themselves, and I think it shows through the dedication, the passion for which and why they delivered. I think the fact that they shared songs, for example, Baby by Gal Costa first appeared on this album. It later got a rendition on Os Mutantes' self-titled album, and then she officially released it on her self-titled album the year after. And then it got its own bossa nova renditions from Os Mutantes, and then it gets covered by this person and this person. And I don't think there was a problem in any of that. Clearly they were supporting it. And it gets me to this understanding that throughout all of these times for them, for these times of triumph, for these times of dismay and oppression, that the answer was always the acceptance to be together, to let others into your life, to give that to other people as much as you can, and just to make it sound freeing. And that's really what I've gotten out of all of this. And so you look at these artists like Tropicalia, Os Mutantes, Gal Costa, I can't pronounce the rest. You look at these bandings of people, and spiritually, where I am at right now in my life, it's speaking to me. I've been struggling, I guess, in self-acceptance. And something clicked recently that really helped me understand that. And this whole movement has been nothing less than that for me. And for the opportunity to exist, to explore into another country's deep culture, to recognize that there has been so much going on in the world. It really opens up my eyes to just how much there is for me to explore and gain from other people. And not only do I choose myself, not only do these artists choose themselves and each other, but it's really about choosing the world, and I truly believe in that. People are stronger together, and you really can't be there for others unless you're there for yourself first. So that's number one. That's what that movement means to me. If you don't know about it, please take my word of recommendation. Even if it's not in your language, please choose to be brave and try something else, because at the end of the day, people are people, and you will get some sort of feeling out of it, and we all have feelings. Second, which may be a smaller, a shorter subject, but just Patti Smith. Let's start at the beginning. So, Patti Smith. Always knew that she was an artist I should listen to. She gets critical acclaim. I saw Horses on sale at a record shop for $12. It must have been used, but I was like, it's my time to get this. I got that maybe 2 years ago. So love doing that. You see a record for cheap that was used, get it. You may end up loving it one day. Let me explain why Patti Smith means so much to me. So I get the record, I listen to it, I'm like, okay, that was good. Don't really listen to it again for a while. Starts picking back up for me maybe a year and a half later. Gloria and Excelsis Deo starts to really strike a chord, and I'm like, okay, I really like this. So I start giving the other songs more of a chance. I'm like, okay. I take a trip to Boston and New York with friends. We took a trip up to Boston. Freaking amazing. It's a place that I've dreamed of moving to, I guess, for a few years now. It was everything I guess I could have hoped for. We'll see where that goes. But we took an Amtrak down to New York, and that's really where this struck. Also, sitting on a train listening to Tiger Milk by Belle and Sebastian, do that for 4 hours and then get back to me. But Patti Smith, maybe the last full day we were there, we went to Hotel Chelsea. And if you know anything about her, if you know anything about music and Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen, you'll know how important of a place that is. It's where they would all gather to just creatively express themselves and feel normal, right, in a world that doesn't really make sense. That comes in later in the story, but for me, visiting that and knowing just how much importance had been able to walk through there, and for people to have walked through there that were people that are my heroes that I want to become, people that accept themselves, accept the world around them, accept the absurdities of the universe as a whole, and challenge those in order to find themselves. It was a special feeling. And so while we're leaving, I'm like, man, I've just, something about all of this, it just makes me feel so connected to this album. It makes it more special to me. And then I start noticing more things about what I can take from her, just and how inspirational she is. My best friend read her book Just Kids. I just bought it yesterday. It's coming in. I want to read it. But he read her book Just Kids a while back. He said it was super inspirational. Start looking up quotes, things she says, her upbringing, her life. She had a terribly difficult path, and I'm not going to say she had a terrible life, because she chose to work through that. She had a difficult path, but worked through it anyways. It didn't seem like she fit in anywhere. She would constantly lose jobs and really live a life of doing, I guess, what she had to survive. There's a story I don't know where this comes in later on when I read her book, but I was reading some stuff about how she got started before she was able to play in these clubs and perform. And there's two things that stuck out to me. She went to try to go back to New York to start change in her life, and when she went to go buy a train ticket, it was more expensive than the last time she was there. And so, trying to figure out what to do about that, she went to a phone booth to try to call her sister. I think she realized that she didn't want to admit or call her sister, and so she looked up and saw this white purse. And inside this white purse, there was $32. I don't know how much that was back in the day, but there was an amount that got her to the place she wanted to go. And she didn't take the purse, she just took the money, and forever held on to that story as something that she used to kickstart who she was. And sometimes I think that's necessary as somebody who tries to be fair to others and to do morally the right thing. I'm not saying that stealing is the right answer, but sometimes you do have to look out for yourself. That's definitely a tried and true of life, is that you just have to be able to do what you want sometimes. And even if it's the answer you don't want to do, sometimes you just have to do things like that to kick off the rest of your life. And so there's that story. There's this other anecdote that she has of how much the Doors meant to her, the band The Doors, and about the song Break On Through to the Other Side. And she goes off by saying that there's a million things waiting for you in life. You know, you have to break on through all these doors, and it's not just about breaking one door. It's not about breaking a million, because none of those numbers are ever enough. You just have to keep breaking and breaking through and breaking through. And she says you have to go beyond reflection, beyond mirror, beyond. And that, on top of everything else that I can come to try to understand about her just writing poems with somebody playing guitar in the background, and eventually that being what makes her so unique as an artist, and her pushing through the norms, I guess, at the time as a woman, to just really just not give a fuck about the rest of the world around you and really do what you want and challenge all of that. It's so inspiring, because you look at interviews of her now and she's so grounded. She's somebody that really understands herself, that knows how to put herself first, but not in lieu of disrespecting other people. And that behavior is something that I would like to achieve one day. Being able to have so much knowledge of myself that it doesn't mean I know what I need to do in every situation. It just means that I know how to accept the things I do in that situation, regardless of what they are. Because at the end of the day, I'm a good person, you're a good person, we're all just people trying to figure this out. And if you can keep that close to you, then that really is the answer to being yourself and to life. And those are the revelations I've had recently. The Tropicalia movement in Brazil has given me light on liberation and working together with others and pushing through the hard times and recognizing that miserable things may happen to you, but that doesn't determine your miserable life, and that your life is miserable. And Patti Smith giving me the inflection that self-acceptance is okay despite everything that may happen to you, and the right answer is to always take time to do what's right now. I'm a part of my generation, and my time to start acting is now, and I can recognize that. And I guess just to kind of cap things off, I'm always somebody. I grew up wanting to be a YouTuber. That was my dream. That's why I went to college for film. I didn't even really like film that much. I just went to college because I liked YouTube. And I think I was always so scared to put the camera up without it being some finished result. And what would these three people think? And these three people think? And I don't know. People have been walking around me the whole time I've been here. And I think it's time for me to start doing the things I want to do and putting energy into the things that give me freedom in my life. And I think freedom comes in art and creativity. So yeah, hopefully you got something from this.